This is the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Tristan Law, semi-retired pro wrestler, and today, I'm your host. WrestleMania 41, Night 1 is in the books. And let me tell you, this show had its up and downs. It had its yeets. Wow, that's a lot to say. It had its betrayals, and it had a possible match of the year. I'm Tristan Law, breaking down 5 matches that shook the WWE universe, the world, the whole entire planet, the whole entire existence as we know it, and maybe the future of the WWE. Let's talk about Tiffany Stratton's moment of truth. We're going to talk about Jey Uso's coronation and the not single, but the double betrayal of Paul Heyman. Look, I said it. But you know what? We're not leading with that. Hang out for a little bit, because I was so hyped to talk to y'all that I was like, maybe I should just go live at 10:30. Maybe I should just go live at 9 o'clock in the morning. I thought maybe I should have went live last night. We got a poll going on right now. Did you like WrestleMania Night 1? It's easy. Salt and pepper, yes or no? That's it. Answer that, and we'll take a look at that in the comments. But I think in that match between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Championship, I think that Charlotte was elite. Charlotte showed why she belonged, and her in-ring wrestling psychology was on point because she focused on the knee the entire time. The thing that I looked at that match, and I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit too judgmental. Maybe I feel like the chemistry was off. When you see Tiffany standing in the ring and they did the whole entire introductions and stuff like that, Tiffany is standing in the ring with the belt I felt like Tiffany was maybe either nervous or maybe Tiffany Stratton realized that she was a goldfish in a shark tank. Because ever since those two women stood in the ring and smacked down and went toe to toe, I think that was Tiffany Stratton's brightest moment in the whole entire program. Until the whole Ludwig Kaiser in the DM thing, and it's like, ever since then, I felt like Tiffany Stratton was a little bit too timid. I felt that when you're in the ring, when you're in the ring with somebody like that, it's just like you gotta turn it up. And I didn't feel like Tiffany Stratton delivered it. I felt like Charlotte Flair was a 10 out of 10, and I felt like Tiffany Stratton was maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. So somebody was telling me, though, I was having discussions on Threads last night, so you can follow me on Threads. I'm going to be active again on Threads all night for WrestleMania Night 2, WrestleMania 41 Night 2, having conversations, having polls, meeting people, because this is why I love pro wrestling, because it brings us all together. And one of the things that somebody said to me, it might have been my friend Jamal, he might have texted me, and the conversation might have been like, but maybe she was nervous. And I'm like, look, listen, you could be nervous, but if you can't do the job, you're in the wrong spot. If you can't do burgers, I'm going to put you back on fries. And I feel, you know what, y'all want a hot take? I'm going to give you a hot take right now. If Tiffany Stratton has another performance like she did last night, she will not be the WWE Women's Champion by the end of the summer. Six minutes into the episode, and we're already doing a hand clap already. 6 minutes, 4 minutes since we're live, and I'm already giving a hand clap already. I don't think that Tiffany Stratton is going to be the WWE Women's Champion going forward. I don't think that she had a great performance last night. I felt that everything was off. But then, you know what? Let me give it to this as well, too. Despite what people think about pro wrestling, we don't really practice what we're going to do. We might sit down and we might talk about what we're going to do, and then we go from there, So let me tell you some of the things that could have made the whole thing feel off. They're not wrestling each other every single night. They don't have the ability to where they're going on tour all week and they get to actually practice their craft. So maybe that's why that Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair match felt kind of off. Maybe whatever it is that Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair were going to go ahead and do, right before they went out, somebody said, hey, we're not doing that. We're changing this. Maybe she was lost. I don't know. But look, I feel that Tiffany Stratton is definitely not going to be where she is now if she doesn't do it. But I think the ending, though, of the match, the end part of the match was really, really good. And I think that that it picked up in the end part, and then when Triple H came out in the press conference, he was like, "Oh, well, you know, Tiffany Stratton this, Tiffany Stratton that." I don't think it's professional for him to go out there and even bury Tiffany Stratton. So whether it was good or not, you're not going to hear it from Triple H himself. What would that do to the morale of the people that work for you if your boss went on national TV to the world and said, "Yeah, that person sucked"? That's not good. But Tiffany Stratton survived. The next match was all about proving that you belong. Naomi and Jade, they made sure that you knew that they do both. Look, I think that this match between Jade Cargill and Naomi is probably Jade Cargill's best match to date. She showed that she belongs in the WWE. Granted, this is maybe her first singles match on television in front of the entire world. I felt that, look, a lot of people have doubted Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill, she showed off her impressiveness with her strength and her unique style of wrestling. And I think that's why Jade Cargill belongs in the WWE. Looking at that match in itself, I was excited when Naomi came out again, because Naomi, she ditched the glow. She ditched the wig. She did all the light up stuff. She felt more serious and less cartoonish. And that's my thing about Naomi. I always felt that she was cartoonish, even when she was the champion. When she was the women's champion, I felt that Naomi was way too cartoonish. I wasn't into that, the whole coming out and doing the whole little dance thing, and you get in there, oh my God, Naomi did a dance. That's great that she did a dance. But I think the thing with Naomi is that she's been finding herself, and she had to get released from the WWE to go find herself. Because if I was working for the WWE and I got released, one of the things I would think to myself was like, you know what? Maybe I'm just not that good. Maybe I need to go out there and prove to these people that I belong. And I think that during Naomi's time on the indies and wrestling for TNA, she proved why she belonged and that she belonged, and she found herself, and I think we saw that person last night on night one. But let me tell you this again. I've been saying this since day one. Since day one, I've been saying this. Bianca Belair has something to do with the attack on Jade Cargill. I don't care what anybody says. Listen to me. After watching that match between Naomi and Jade Cargill, the first thing I said to myself at the end of that match was, Naomi took a beating for Bianca Belair. When you listen to the interview, when they asked Naomi, what makes you think that it was Naomi? Well, she know that she got hit from the back, and she turned around, and when she was falling, she saw Naomi running. What does that mean? What does that mean? Maybe Naomi was standing there with Bianca Belair telling Bianca, no, girl, don't do it. No, girl, don't do it. And she did it, but because Naomi's a ride or die, she took the L, because there's a bigger story. Look, this story's not done. We are going to see this story tonight. I promise you, we're going to see this story tonight. We have to see the story tonight. If not, at least by Saturday, by next SmackDown on Friday. We are going to know how involved Bianca Belair was in this. Let me tell you how I see it. And I said it last episode, or 2 episodes ago. Last episode, actually. Bianca Belair is going to win. And then Jade Cargill's going to come out there and raise her hand and say, yeah, that's my girl. And then what's going to happen is that Bianca Belair is going to lay Jade Cargill out. And then she's going to walk up to the top of the stage, to that little cool set that WrestleMania got going on. And then Naomi's going to come out. They're going to hold hands and they're going to walk out. I'm giving myself a hand clap for that. I'm giving myself a hand clap for that. I have to. Like, I just think that's just such a, that's the story. And nobody's going to see it coming. And if you watch the Tristan Law show, if you hang out with me as we are building the community, you're going to be like, yo, maybe this crazy guy is a little bit right. But Bianca Belair, her shadow, it looms over this feud. Jade, like I said, Jade said that she saw Naomi running when she got attacked. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Because I don't know what that means. To me, what that means is that Bianca's not sure. If this was a court of law, how can you even convict Naomi? Because you had circumstantial evidence? Because the way the circumstance presented itself, that Naomi was just there running away? That don't work for me. But I feel like this whole entire match, though, that it was physical, it was high impact action, and felt deeply personal. But before we get into Jey Uso's title win, I want to talk about a post that I saw online that was surrounding this whole entire weekend, and I think it sparked some real discussion. I saw a thread, because, you know, I'm big on threads. I don't use X or Blue Sky or Deep Blue Sea or anything else like that. The thread pretty much said, 3 black men in the main event of NXT, Triple H would never. He would never do it. And what they were talking about was the awesome classic between Obi Femi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams. They main evented NXT Stand and Deliver. Triple H, look, I'm saying this as a black man. Triple H could never do that on Raw and SmackDown because there's nobody there right now, who as a black man or black person could even main event Raw or SmackDown right now. I don't think there's anybody right now that can main event that can main event WrestleMania right now. Now, yeah, people were trying to tell me, well, what about Obi Femi? What about Javon Evans? And what about Trick Williams? There's a reason why they main evented NXT Stand and Deliver. They don't have the emotional investment or a solid storyline that is going on Raw or SmackDown. They have it on NXT. But one of the things that I'm saying, though, is that, first off, this is not a knock to anybody in the WWE. I don't knock anybody in the WWE. I like what you do. You know, we come here in the Tristan Law Show. We have a lot of fun. But this is about being real, right? When I'm telling people, well, give me 3 black people right now, 3 black men that you could put into the main event of WrestleMania, and everybody just starts naming names. Like, no, you just can't name names to name names. People say, well, look what they did with Shelton Benjamin. Look what they did with Bobby Lashley. And look, now they're thriving in AEW. Yes, because AEW and WWE are 2 different things. Listen, I'm going to say this. I've said it once, I've said it twice, and I've probably said it a million times. In AEW wants the fans, they want solid wrestling. And when you get Shelton Benjamin, you're going to get that every single time. But when it comes to the sports entertainment action portion, the part with the personality, the part where he might have to talk on the mic, I don't think Shelton Benjamin even delivers in that department. Not yet. Now, people say, well, I said that in the next 5 years, I see Shelton Benjamin go back to the WWE. They go, why? I said, well, there's a changing of guards happening right now. It's been said. Roman Reigns said he only has 1 to 2 years left in the WWE, right, on this contract. He might not re-sign. So if he doesn't re-sign, that's going to leave some open spots. That gives Shelton Benjamin the time right now to solidify himself to where he really belongs. I want to see Shelton Benjamin in the main event of WrestleMania. I want to see 3 black men in the main event of WrestleMania, even 3 black women in the main event of WrestleMania. Last night, there was only 4 black people on WrestleMania. And you know what? In order for you to become the main event, there's only so many spots. Imagine if everybody just main evented WrestleMania, right? Who would be the undercard? Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. Somebody has to main event, and somebody has to do mid-card. Somebody's got to jerk the curtain. That's the first match. Keep your mind out of the gutter. Somebody has to be the first match. Everybody just can't all be put into the thing right now. But look, once Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, they sharpen their game, WWE is going to be back with them. People say, why would they want to come back to WWE? I'll be honest. Because nobody in this current wrestling generation right now is saying, I want to go ahead and be the AEW World Champion. You know why? Because the person that's saying that isn't even in high school yet. There's a whole generation of people that have been bred on WWE. And what we want to do, what I want to do is I want to headline WrestleMania. I want to be the person that not only headlines WrestleMania, but I want to be WWE champion. I got no interest in being the AEW champion. If they call me, I'm a go, but my interest is still in being the WWE champion. Talia Jeanette checks in. Man, Seth Rollins finna beat the brakes off of Jay, and they're going to run it back with Roman. Thank you so much, girl, for checking in. You watched WrestleMania kind of late. When I saw you yesterday, we tried to have that conversation, but I didn't ruin it for you. But that conversation that I was trying to have with you last night, we are going to have it in just a little bit, so make sure you stick around. All right. So let's get back to the action of WrestleMania Night 1, because this next match was probably to date, this is the biggest moment in Jey Uso's career. And what I'm talking about is Jey Uso is finally, he solidified himself. He's not a tag team guy anymore. And I'll be 100% honest with you, I didn't think Jey Uso was winning that night. I didn't want Jey Uso to win. I said to myself, sitting there in my little chair, this chair right here, in front of my big old TV, with my computer open on Threads. Make sure you follow me on Threads, because we're having discussions tonight. Just type in that name in Threads, follow me. We're talking tonight live. If Jey Uso and Gunther are the first match, something spectacular has to happen in the main event. Something earth-shattering and riveting has to happen in the main event. And Talia, you know that when I saw you yesterday, I told you that. And then you were like, oh, as a former worker, because Talia's a wrestler too. I'm not former. I'm semi-retired, because maybe one day I'll get back in the ring again. And something riveting did happen. Earth-shattering did happen at the end of the night. Because I thought that the way that you see the whole entire match happening, that the lasting moment is going to be everybody doing the yeet over the arena and stuff like that, all 61,000 people doing the yeet at one time. I don't think that really played into the way that it should have. But I think that opening match, though, definitely stole the energy of the entire crowd, right? I think that by that first match, here's the psychology, and I'm closing my eyes because I'm envisioning it. The psychology is that the fans, as a fan, they saw what they wanted to see in the first couple minutes of WrestleMania. And what they wanted to see was their man, main event Jey Uso, actually win. And they saw that. So based on everything else in the card, what do you really care about? And nobody really cared about the New Day. I did the poll on Threads, and that's what everybody said. You know, nobody really cared about Paul, that the triple threat match, because there was nothing really on the line. But what was on the line? It was Paul Heyman's loyalty, and we're going to talk about that. But my concern for Jey Uso is that now that Jey Uso's won the championship, what's next? Will Jey Uso stay hot, or will he cool down like Cody Rhodes or LA Knight once they win the belt? LA Knight's not the champion anymore. Sorry if I ruined it for you, right? We're assuming that by the time you're watching this, that you've already watched it already. So if you didn't watch it already, my bad. But I've said it before for Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes the chase was amazing. Cody Rhodes chased the championship 2 years in a row. And the second year, that's when he won. Last year at WrestleMania. And in that whole entire year, since Cody Rhodes has had the belt, what has Cody Rhodes really done? I'll wait. I don't think Cody Rhodes has done anything. You know why? Because nobody other than maybe Kevin Owens and now John Cena has put him to the test. Has made you say, you know what? They might take that belt off that boy. LA Knight. I've said it with LA Knight. We're getting ready to talk about LA Knight's match with Jacob Fatu next for the United States Championship. LA Knight is way more interesting when he's chasing for the belt. I think that LA Knight as a champion, and I don't want that to be a black eye to his career, because as a guy that got into wrestling, him being LA Knight, who got into wrestling as an older guy, he needs that validation of being able to be the WWE champion, not the heavyweight champion. He needs to be the WWE champion, LA Knight. And the reason why he needs to do it, because like I said, it's validation. That, yep, this old guy came in, he went through NXT and he did it. Yeah. But I think the issue is that LA Knight need to figure out, they need to put LA Knight in some unfair advantages. And I think that's what needs to happen to Jey Uso in order for Jey Uso to feel like he's some kind of relevant. In order, and not Jey Uso, I'm sorry. Jey Uso. They need to do that to Jey Uso. So you're like, you know what? He's relevant. Like, you know what? He's a champion, right? Because you won the belt, and now what? You got the girl. Think about it, right? With the Mario brothers, right? Mario goes and he fights for the girl. And then he gets the girl, and then what? Then he has to go save her again. The chase. It's all about the chase. Let's look at the chat. Talia said, I'm still here. Oh, wow. She's still at work. 14 down, 2 to go. And all she got was Paul screwing everyone. Yep, sure did. Girl, why you work so much? Next message. They should have had the tag match open. Nobody cared about the New Day winning. I agree. I think the tag team match between New Day and the Viking Raiders should have been the opening match. Could have been the opening match. Would have served its job as the opening match. And one of the things that I said last time on Threads, if you're not following me on Threads, follow me on Threads because we're having a discussion. Follow me. The real big tree is right here on Threads. You remember when they called the War Raiders the Viking Experience? Yeah, me neither. She also said, I was only vested in Naomi versus Jade and the triple threat. Okay. And Jacob showed up and showed out. It was a nice plot twist. It was too. Thank you so much for your messages. Don't forget, whether you're watching this live or on demand, that you can always participate in the chat and I respond to every message. It's what I do. Maybe it's my character flaw. Even when this thing blows up and I get 10,000 messages, will I still respond to you? Yes. You can even send me an email if you want to talk wrestling or you have a comment or concern. Send it to tristanlawshowmedia@gmail.com. I can't wait to see your email. But Jey Uso, he got his coronation. But next up was Jey Uso's comment. God, man, I got so many excitement. Let me calm down for a little bit and we're going to do that again. So we got Jey Uso's coronation. But up next was Jacob Fatu's coming out party. And you know what? He didn't disappoint. Let me tell you about that match for the WWE United States Championship between LA Knight. It started slow, but it built into a brutal battle like we expect. Jacob Fatu looked dominant, but LA Knight, he still looked strong in defeat, and it makes me wonder what's next for him. Maybe Money in the Bank? LA Knight, look, I keep saying it, and you're not listening. What I'm saying is that Roman Reigns said he's leaving in 1 year to 2 years. He might not re-sign. Seth Rollins got a whole entire baby. He got a kid. Maybe he wants to go try something else. You can't wrestle forever. Us wrestlers really have so many bumps on our bump card. CM Punk is going to have to go bye-bye one day. Drew McIntyre is going to have to go bye-bye one day. Who is next? You got people like Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Logan Paul. Those are people that are going to be the future. And right now, they got to step it up because when Triple H comes calling, they better be ready to answer the phone. They better have their characters down polished and build that connection with the fans. Once a person like LA Knight wins that WWE championship, the whole story going in is that he's the guy that they doubted from day one. They doubted LA Knight. And LA Knight's going to be in the top one day. I got a hot take for you. I've been dropping hot takes all weekend. WrestleMania Night 1 recap. Jacob Fatu's a bigger star than Solo Sikoa. The reason why I think that Jacob Fatu is a bigger star than Solo Sikoa is because Jacob Fatu, he's got a little bit more personality. And fans are connecting with Jacob Fatu. When Solo Sikoa first came out, what did Solo Sikoa say? Nothing. He didn't say anything. All he does, and I can say this because, God, I know it's the resurrection. I know it's Easter. And I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, so please forgive me because the people know that I'm crazy. Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa just walks on with his thumb like he's going to put it up his ass. Like, what is he really doing? Jacob Fatu has the personality. And Solo Sikoa is just now trying to find his personality. It's going to be too damn late. Listen to what I'm telling you right now. Talia Jeanette took the words right out of my mouth. She said in the chat that Jacob is what we thought Solo was going to be. Girl, you get a hand clap. You get a hand clap. I looked over and saw what she put in the chat. She said that Jacob Fatu was what we thought Solo Sikoa was going to be. When Solo Sikoa was in the original bloodline, he was the enforcer. And then what happened was that when Solo Sikoa wanted to take over the bloodline, he needed a new enforcer because he couldn't be the enforcer. So then Jacob Fatu did it, and he broke out of that character. Solo Sikoa needs the bloodline. Jacob Fatu has broken out of the bloodline. Do you understand that when WrestleMania Night 1 happened, when Jacob Fatu was walking into the arena to go toe-to-toe with LA Knight, that it was his 302nd day on the main roster? When Jacob Fatu won the WWE United States Championship, it was in his 302nd day with the company. The first time we saw him is when he put Randy Orton through a table. He helped beat up Kevin Owens, and then he helped beat up Cody Rhodes. 302 days since his SmackDown debut. Jacob Fatu not only wins the WWE United States Championship, but he does it at WrestleMania. About a year ago, sometime outside that 300, today makes 303 days. A year ago, I went to an independent show in Brooklyn to go see some friends of mine that were wrestling on the show. And Jacob Fatu wrestled in the main event. Jacob Fatu was just an indie guy. 303 days ago, he wasn't in the WWE. 300 days ago, you didn't know who the heck Jacob Fatu was really, unless you watched MLW. You were on, or you were in tune with the indies. That match last night between LA Knight and Jacob Fatu did a lot of things. It showed every single person out there that has a dream that if you work hard, you can get what you deserve. And it also showed that Jacob Fatu is the guy on SmackDown. When Roman Reigns says that he's going bye-bye, when Seth Rollins is gone and CM Punk is gone, what you're going to see is you're going to see a guy like Jacob Fatu leading the pack. You're telling me right now that you can't see Jacob Fatu main event in WrestleMania in the next 5 years? I'll wait. Let's go back to the chat while we wait. Talia said that Sally Tama and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are going to be the Timu version of the Usos. They will be mid-tier tag team at best, maybe carry the division when Montez gets his solo run, but Bloodline hype is reaching its burnout. Yeah, I think that they haven't done nothing with the with the New Day, with the Bloodline. Thank you so much for your comment. And it makes me wonder what's left for the Bloodline. Is the Bloodline just going to go away? Like, yes, I feel that right now, at this point, that the Bloodline right now is the Temu version of the original Bloodline. The first Bloodline, we bought that from Walmart. We got that in one day with the Amazon Prime. But this new version of the Bloodline that we have right now, they're definitely with Temu, and with the tariffs attached to it, it's not even worth the price right now. Jacob Fatu needs to leave the Bloodline. And what's going to happen is that he's going to go out there feeling himself. Yes, Solo Sikoa's happy for him, but Solo Sikoa is still the leader of the Bloodline. So what does that mean? What that means now is that, you know what, he might be like, yo, so Jacob Fatu, you think you're the man now because you got the belt? So now what happens? Him and Solo Sikoa are going to fight. They're going to have to wrestle. And what's going to happen? I'll tell you what I think's going to happen. Solo Sikoa might not come out on top of that one. Now, we're going to talk about the moment The moment that all been waiting for. The moment that nobody really cared about, that we couldn't really understand why it was the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. I'm talking about the match that had the chaos. I'm talking about the match that didn't even just have one betrayal. It had two betrayals. Two men got hit in their jewels last night and a chair shot by Paul Heyman. Look, I'm getting the goosebumps talking about this right now. This main event, it had it all. And Code checked into the chat. He said, "What's up, guys? What's going on, Code? Welcome." This match was a match that nobody... This match could have easily been the opening match. This match could have easily been the match that led before Jey Uso and winning. Jey Uso winning. I'm talking about Roman Reigns versus CM Punk with Seth Rollins. Triple threat match. And what was on the line? The loyalty of Paul J. Heyman. I don't know if his middle name is Jay, but we're calling him Paul J. Heyman right now. When you look at that match, the way the match was structured, and I'm giving you this from a pro wrestler's point of view. Hi, Tristan Law, host of the Tristan Law Show, semi-retired pro wrestler. That's me. From the lens of a wrestler, that match was chaotic, it was cinematic, and it was violent. It was everything that match was supposed to be and then some. CM Punk was the glue. Seth Rollins was the workhorse. And Roman Reigns, he was the slow burn threat. The guy that held the WWE up for over 3 years, you expected him to win? He came in there with his Ulafali and didn't even want Paul Heyman to touch his Ulafali. Look, listen, kids, don't let people touch your Ulafali, okay? Nobody should touch your Ulafali. Paul Heyman wanted to touch Roman Reigns' Ulafali. And Roman Reigns said, "Nope, because I don't like you." There was multiple false finishes going into that match. Multiple false finishes going into that match where you didn't even know what was happening. I'm watching the main event on the train because I was going to work. And when you go between the stations, there's no signal and it cuts out and it's doing a false finish. And I'm like, please get to the next station because all I want to see is who won. And then I get to the next station, they're still wrestling. I go, oh my God, so I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss anything. The crowd, though, was unglued. The crowd, I'm not going to lie, the crowd burnt out a little bit during the Jey Uso match because they saw what they wanted to see. They already yeeted. And let me tell you, usually after you yeet, you just want to relax. You feel cool. But everybody yeeted in the first hour of WrestleMania Night 1, and then they got that energy back and they were able to yeet again later on. Look, sometimes you got to go for 2 rounds. The double betrayal. Paul Heyman not only low blows Roman Reigns, the guy that he's been running around with, that you remember during the pandemic, you saw Roman Reigns sitting there and the camera pulled back and you saw Paul Heyman next to him. That was the start of the bloodline. That is how we got here. They're supposed to be friends. Well, not really friends. I'm going to tell you about that in a little bit. And then CM Punk. He owed a favor to Seth Rollins. I mean, to Paul Heyman owed CM Punk a favor. That's supposed to be his mans in him. You guys really think that you could have trusted Paul Heyman? Paul Heyman used to have a pro wrestling company called ECW. And he used to tell people that he was going to pay him and didn't pay him. Paul Heyman would give them the check and the check would bounce. How are you trusting Paul Heyman? If you're trusting, okay, watch. Do you trust Paul Heyman? That's the question that I want to ask you. And let me even answer that for you right. Let me give you the buzzer because I don't care what you say. The answer's wrong. You can't trust Paul Heyman. Let's look at the chat. Let's see. We got Mackenzie Johnson. Hey, I've never seen you before, Mackenzie, but welcome to the Tristan Law Show. Welcome to the community. Mackenzie says, hey, what's up? I enjoyed Tiffany versus Charlotte matches and the main event triple threat match. Look, girl, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a great, I think that WrestleMania wasn't stellar, but I think it was good. If I had to pay for WrestleMania, it was still worth the time. Let's see. We got Fatih Murul. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Sorry. WWE Rhea Ripley Women's Championship wins WrestleMania 41 Las Vegas right now. Riptide. All right. Thank you so much. Paul Heyman is from New York City. Talia comes in and says that Paul Heyman is from New York City. Y'all should have known better. Look, everybody that is from New York is a shyster. Okay. I'm from New York. I'm not a shyster. But you know what? Because I'm from New York, I could see a bamboozle a mile away. I could see a bamboozle, a flim-flam, the okey-doke coming from the mile away. And I said, I don't care. We're still talking about CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Paul Heyman. Look, the reason I said that CM Punk was not going to be the guy that gets the loyalty of Paul Heyman, and neither was Roman Reigns. And the reason why I said that was because Seth Rollins is the new toy. He is the only one that Seth Rollins is the only one that Paul Heyman never played with. He didn't play with him. You don't know what it's like. He didn't play with that toy yet. Seth Rollins is the shiny new toy. That match was about who is going to be the main character in WWE. And that person is going to be Seth Rollins. Paul Heyman, what he did was he took the whole entire Bloodline saga, he took the whole entire history with CM Punk, and he yeeted it out the window. Threw it out the window, doesn't even care about it anymore. It's gone. Goodbye, adios, sayonara. Because Seth Rollins is now a Paul Heyman guy. Did anybody see that coming? Let's look at the chat. Ty Jeanette says that WrestleMania needs to be just one night. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. The only reason that you probably think that WrestleMania should be one night is because you've never sat through WrestleMania for one night in person. Girl, I went to WrestleMania 35 in MetLife Stadium. And I sat there for 8 hours and didn't even collect the paycheck. I sat in the arena for 8 hours and didn't even collect the paycheck. How crazy is that? It rained and it was cold. You know what? If it was 2 nights, it's great, but WWE also gets to collect double the money. And them ticket prices were out of control, by the way. Out of control. Especially for this year. WWE is talking about, or Triple H said last night in a press conference, oh, this is the highest grossing gate for WWE, WrestleMania, or whatever it was. Because the tickets were like $10 million. They were $10 million. So that we kept opening up seats and people kept buying them. Yeah, right. I get that. But it was $10 million. You only still put 60,000 people in there. You put 60,000 people into the arena. But when you go to WrestleMania, what is it, 32? The one that was in Levi Stadium. I think they put, the one that was in Texas Stadium where the Cowboys played, there's 100 and some odd thousand people in the stadium, right? So my whole thing is that why is that one not the highest grossing? Because y'all wasn't bamboozling people with them WWE ticket prices. I'm trying to go to SummerSlam. I don't got that much money to, I mean, I'm doing, but I'm cheap, but I don't want to spend $10,000 on a seat. The most I'm willing to spend to go to a PLE is maybe, since it's 2 nights and I would like to go 2 nights, maybe $700 altogether. Damn, I said it. Damn, that's expensive. But CM Punk and Seth Rollins, they had that feud that they had going on, and now the feud is going to progress itself even more. The message that's going to happen on when we get to Monday Night Raw is why Paul, why? Everybody loved Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was the man. Paul Heyman was that guy. But what happened? Why'd he do it? There's a lot to talk about. I did a poll earlier because I like polling you guys. Behave yourselves. And I asked, did you like WrestleMania Night 1? 67%, 2/3 of the people that voted said yes. 33% of people said no. I think that WrestleMania Night 2 is going to be the night that everybody talks about. Everybody right now is talking about the betrayal by Paul Heyman. But tonight we have so much more. And I can't wait to talk to you about it tomorrow, Monday morning at 10:30 a.m. This is going to be Appointment TV. We're building. Look, let me tell you something. I want to be honest with you. One of the things that I'm doing here is I'm building a community. I'm building a community here. And I watch other people's live streams. I watch what other people do. You know, I listen to radio shows and stuff like that about wrestling. But what I try to do is make sure that you, the person that is watching, listening, however you consume me, is a part of the show. Because your voice matters. Some people come in here with some ideas that are way off the wall. I don't even know what you're talking about half the time. But what I try to do is I try to give you a voice. And that's the reason why I'm live. I could do a podcast where I could just record all my thoughts and send them to you. But you know what? This isn't one way. This is us having a conversation. And I'm only here at 342 subscribers. And I'm getting emotional talking about this. I'm only at 342 subscribers right now because of you. Because you decided to take a chance on me, and I'm not going to cry on the camera, so stop, because I almost did. I'm only here because of you, and I love pro wrestling. The thing about pro wrestling is that it unites all of us. Talia, she is the former worker. She's the former wrestler. I'm the semi-retired wrestler, and she can tell you that when you're in a locker room with a bunch of people, it doesn't matter what language you spoke. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, Indian, or Asian. What unites us is one thing, is WrestleMania. I was able to get online last night on Threads and have conversations with total strangers about pro wrestling. And I'm doing that right now. But you know, we're not going to be strangers. Because some of the things that are going to be happening down the line on the Tristan Law Show, I'm going to be starting a newsletter. All the information is in the bottom right here. If you want to find out how to get the newsletter, once we're done, go into the description of this episode and click the link and sign up. It's free. The newsletter will always be free. What I'm also doing as well, too, is that there's a merch store. You want to wear a Tristan Law Show shirt? The best way for you to support the show is for you to wear the show. Go ahead and click the description. Click the description and look at the link in there. Look at the shirts. I make all the graphics myself. I'm building a community of like-minded people who love pro wrestling. And this is WrestleMania. Despite what you want to say, some people might say that, oh, well, AEW is the number one company. They're the best company in the world. I doubt that. And this is the only reason why I doubt that. Because if you've ever been into a town that has WrestleMania, I can't speak about Royal Rumble, but I've been into many places that have WWE events, PLEs. But when you go to a place that has WrestleMania, they take over the town. From the second you get off the airport to the time you get back on the plane. Everything is WrestleMania centric. WWE right now, they're the number one. And I'm glad that that's what unites us. And AEW is what unites us as well, too. Pro wrestling is what it unites us. Mackenzie Johnson checks this, says, I like the 2-night Mania. If they go one night only, the show would probably end at midnight. Yes, girl, I was at WrestleMania 35 at MetLife Stadium. And everybody was tired. You see the thing, too, though, with it being 2 nights? Here's a reason why I think that WWE works 2 nights. Because New Japan does it. WWE has such an in-depth roster that, you know what, instead of milking the cow once and drinking once and having to share that, why not milk the cow twice and then you have double to share? I'm talking about the money. The money's the milk. I think that 2 nights works because it keeps WWE talking so much longer, right? You're not only talking about WWE Saturday into Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. You're now talking about the WWE because the events are 2 nights. You're talking about it from Saturday, day 1, up until Monday. WWE, when you go to Google Trends, WWE, WrestleMania 41, Paul Heyman, Those are some of the most searched words on social media. And I'm going to teach you something right now about, putting together your titles and your thumbnails and stuff like that. That's why the title says, did Paul Heyman just start a new era at WrestleMania 41, Night 1? Somebody's going to be Googling this and say, you know what? Let me see what the hell this guy's talking about. And that's how you end up here at the Tristan Law Show. And I am glad that you're here. Well, looking at some of the key results last night, Tiffany Stratton defeated Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair did not get to win that championship, didn't get to secure that 16-time championship. But one of the things that I'm saying, though, is that if she didn't do it, does that mean that John Cena does it tonight? Jade Cargill, she beat the brakes off of Naomi. But what I'm saying again about Naomi and Jade Cargill is that Bianca Belair, she's involved. Bianca Belair is the spaghetti sauce to their meatballs and spaghetti. She's in it. You can't deny it. She's in it. Jey Uso defeats Gunther, new world champion. I didn't think that Jey Uso was going to win. I didn't think he was going to win prior. And watching the match, the way the match was going, I was like, yeah, this match is not going to be done. Because what I wanted to see was the next night, on Monday Night Raw, is when Jey Uso gets his redemption. The scariest thing for me right now, looking at Jey Uso as the new World Heavyweight Champion, is what's next. Somebody said in the chat, I think it might have been Talia, that now Seth Rollins is going to come for that belt. So does that mean that Jey Uso is a transitional champion? Will Jey Uso get that Kofi Kingston treatment? What Kofi Kingston treatment? I'm talking about when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship and then lost it to Brock Lesnar in like no time. Seth Rollins defeats CM Punk and Roman Reigns. How many times does CM Punk need to get screwed? How many times? How many times does CM Punk need to get screwed? The only reason why John Cena is where he is right now is because Seth Rollins curb stomped CM Punk. CM Punk never tapped out. CM Punk did not tap. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the Elimination Chamber. Seth Rollins, we're getting ready to see a whole new heel character. And you know what? I think that Seth Rollins was a heel either way because he's annoying. When Seth Rollins comes out, he always got a new Titantron. He always got a new screen. And one of the things that I saw, and once I saw it and I learned that I can't unsee it, I'm going to expose you to it as well. The video wall, when Seth Rollins comes out, the screens, the colors are dependent upon what he is wearing. If you didn't know, now you know. I didn't know, and once I saw it, somebody told me I can't unsee it, so I hope that you can't unsee it either. I'm going to go back to the chat one last time before I sign off. But what was your match of the night? Do you agree with Paul Heyman's actions? Coming up with some shows this week. Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, Monday morning, we're going to be doing the we're going to be doing the WrestleMania Night 2 recap. Tuesday morning, we're going to be doing the recap of the night after WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw. I hope that Raw is going to be good. On Wednesday at 6 p.m., my series, the Pro Wrestling Scorecard, is going to be dropping. The second episode is going to be on Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Pro Wrestling Scorecard is where I take your favorite wrestlers and I score them in 4 categories: the in-ring ability, mic work, their accomplishments, and their overall legacy. And I give them a score out of 10. Check out the first episode when we're done with this. It's about Owen Hart. And then Friday, I might take a break. I might not come live. But you know I'm crazy. I might come back. I might do an interview. One of my friends just debuted on AEW, and I might bring him in on Friday if the schedule works for us to talk so that you can meet him. Let's go take a look at the chat one last time before we get out of here. So Coda's saying that he says that you say you're from New York, you can spot a scam. Let me tell you. Yes. New York City is full of scammers. And one of the things that you're taught when you're it's a street smart. It's a street smart kind of thing that you kind of get from living in New York City. That like when you're on the train And these people are like, these kids used to come out and be like, yeah, I got my football team, and we just collected money for the football team or the basketball team, and blah, blah, we're stealing a little bit of money, we're selling candy for that. No, they're selling the candy for themselves. You know how I know that? Because I knew kids that did that. When people are doing the 3-card Monty thing on Fordham Road in the Bronx to see if you can pick the card, it's all a scam. People are in on it. One time I did get scammed, though, in New York City. I was 16 years old, and I worked my first job, and I went to go cash my check at the check cashing place. For those of you who don't know, if you don't have a bank account when you're young, you go to the check cashing place to cash your check. So I went to the check cashing place to cash my check, and I bought me a DVD, a bootleg DVD of Fast and the Furious. My first time and my last time buying a bootleg. And if you don't know what a bootleg is because you're not that old, the bootleg is when somebody sat in a movie theater with the video camera back in the day, and they recorded it, and they sold it to you on like somewhere in the streets for like $5. I bought Fast and the Furious, and what I went home and put that DVD in the player, what I got? Some movie by Sylvester Stallone in a race car. I got bamboozled one time. So yeah, I think I have a good knack for spotting a scam a mile away. But yeah, that's one of the perks that you get from being in New York. And it's like, it's one of those things that, you know what? I just don't got the time to deal with anybody's scam. I just keep it pushing. I don't got time for that. Thank you so much for your comments. Let's see what else we got. Mackenzie Johnson says, I like Seth Rollins as a Paul Heyman guy. It's a very intriguing storyline. Mackenzie, thank you so much for your comment. I agree. Because now we've seen Seth Rollins. We've seen the Visionary. We've seen Seth freaking Rollins. We've seen Seth Rollins with the Shield. We've seen Seth Rollins, with one side black hair, one side blonde hair. We've seen him with Triple H. And it makes you wonder, what's this version going to look like? I am sitting on the edge of my seat because I want to hear why. But look, Seth Rollins was telling everybody what was happening, saying that it's a prediction, not a spoiler, and that is what's best for business. When you're look, I'm going to answer the question right now. When everybody says, why, Paul, why? Why did Paul Heyman do it? I'm going to tell you why. Everybody, you're supposed to always do what is best for business. When I put together this whole entire Tristan Law show thing, when I put together the episodes, I could sit here and I could talk about every single match in WrestleMania. But you know what? You don't want to hear from every single match in WrestleMania. You don't care about all the matches. You care about a core set of matches. And I have to do what is best for business, right? When you're in pro wrestling, you got to do what's best for business to get people to buy that ticket, to buy that t-shirt. But for somebody like Paul Heyman always does what's best for Paul. And I think that he was mistreated by Roman Reigns. He was abandoned by CM Punk. The only person that it only made sense for Paul Heyman to go with was Seth Rollins. Mackenzie says that, I'm a guy just letting you know, bro, night 2 of Mania will be interesting. Yeah, I'm concerned to see what happens. I think that John Cena should win the championship and go on the whole entire rampage. John Cena should win the championship. John Cena should leave. John Cena should. There's also something I want to talk about. I just thought about it. I'm going to talk about it in a second. John Cena is going to leave, and he's only going to come back when somebody's worthy enough to fight him. Cody Rhodes is going to take this loss. It's going to be a huge loss for him. He's going to take the leave, and he's going to go away, and you don't have to worry about him anymore. So the thing that you look at is that Randy Orton doesn't have a match going into WrestleMania, right? It was supposed to be Kevin Owens. And the thing that I look at, who is Randy Orton going to wrestle tonight? It could be a treasure trove of people. But I'm not going to tell you who Randy Orton is going to wrestle because I don't have enough time. What I'm going to tell you is what I see happening for Randy Orton tonight. Cody Rhodes doesn't have any friends. John Cena has The Rock, the final boss, and he has Travis Scott, who needs to get punched in the face by Cody Rhodes real good. In that, those are the people in John Cena's corner. But who is in the corner of Cody Rhodes? Nobody. He needs help. I think that Stone Cold Steve Austin would be great to come out. And I think that Randy Orton should come out to help as well. Let me tell you how that match goes. So now what happens is to even the score, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out to help. But now Stone Cold just can't help because now he's getting the brakes beat off of him. Randy Orton comes out to help, but then he RKOs Cody Rhodes. And everybody, it's going to suck the air out of the arena. And not only does Randy Orton RKO Cody Rhodes, but in order to put the icing on the top, the guy that just went into the Hall of Fame this weekend, he also hits the RKO in Stone Cold Steve Austin and then lets Cody Rhodes lose. Look, the only reason that Randy Orton was fighting with Kevin Owens is because of Cody Rhodes. The only reason that Kevin Owens right now is probably out with a neck injury is because he tried to help Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, and I've said it before, Cody Rhodes is toxic. Every single person that's been involved with Cody Rhodes is now in some kind of beef or turmoil with somebody else because Cody wanted everybody to go so they wouldn't see him and they wouldn't go for the belt. But he didn't understand that John Cena had his number. Cody Rhodes didn't understand that The Rock felt like he disrespected his family, not only at WrestleMania night 1 last year, but at WrestleMania night 2. And he still carries around that belt because The Rock told Cody Rhodes that The Rock has to leave right now. But when The Rock comes back, Cody Rhodes is coming for you. And then Netflix happened. And then you got The Rock coming out there pounding around with Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is so damn naive. He doesn't understand what is happening around him. He's building people that are putting a target on his back. There's a target on the back of Cody Rhodes. He's building. Cody Rhodes thought he was shifting. He was playing chess the whole entire time. Cody Rhodes was really playing checkers. Randy Orton is coming for him. Randy Orton is coming for him. When John Cena wins that belt and then goes away because there's nobody that can fight him, Cody Rhodes should be put on the shelf by Randy Orton. And then Cody Rhodes is going to come back in the summer and have a redemption story. That's what I think should happen. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat before we sign off. Mackenzie says, Becky Lynch might return to Lyra Valkyria because Bayley was injured backstage. Look, man, I like the way that this whole entire thing is going because WrestleMania is still so unpredictable. The thing that I say about WWE that I like right now about WWE is that it's not about, they're no longer in the business of giving us what is predictable anymore. They're giving us the things that are unpredictable. Nobody saw Paul Heyman siding with Seth Rollins, but I did. And maybe you thought it if you joined me here. Thank you so much, everybody, for your comments. I can't wait to sit down with you tomorrow. Because tomorrow, we'll be back recapping night 2 of WrestleMania night 2. And if you have not already, smash that subscribe button because I want you to be ready for when you do this tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm Tristan Law. Happy WrestleMania night 2. This is the Tristan Law Show. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you next time. Yeet. I don't need a guide, follow the lights, take me where I want to visit. Are you alive or just breathing? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive.